Hello, hello. So it's time for a weekly wrap up. So this is what I read, what I watched, what I received, what I'm getting rid of, and what I'm keeping. So as always, we're going to start with what I read and watched. First up, I read something that was very much a disappointment for me. So this is Touched by Natalia Jaster. And this is the new version of Touched by Natalia Jaster. So Natalia Jaster, she is a romantasy author. She's really one of the earlier ones. I was reading her back in 2015. She wrote a couple of books I really enjoyed. There's Trick and there was Touch. And they were, Touch was the one I liked a little bit more. It was this very sweet kind of YA romance about a love goddess who ends up falling in love with this poor abused youth. And then they find out that he can see her because he has tapped in to he's like special, in some kind of way. And so Natalia Jaster recently decided to rewrite all of her old books and make them a little bit spicier and change them up a bit. And for this one, naturally, she aged up the characters because in the original book, our male love interest was like 17. So she aged him up. And in doing so, making this spicier and aging up the main character and made it a lot more generic. And it took away kind of all the magic. So what I really enjoyed about the original version of this book was how Andrew, our male main character, was very much not a traditional romance hero. Like, he was kind of beaten down and he was kind of pathetic and he was kind of lame, but he had a very good heart. And in this one, he's just like every other romance hero. He genuinely is. Love, I don't think changed very much. I don't remember all that much. I do remember though that like the magic of this book, it's gone. It's gone, man. Like, it's not as good. And this mixed with the fact that I haven't enjoyed a lot of Natalia Jaster's books recently, I think she's gone. She's gone. Like, for me, like, I really enjoyed Natalia Jaster back in 2015 when I first started reading her with her original versions. But she has changed to fit into the mold of your typical romantasy author, and it's nothing unique or fresh or new anymore, and I don't really care for it. I do have the new edition of Trick in the book wall. So we'll see how that goes. And I also have the old edition of Touch because I don't have my copy anymore in my Amazon cart because I want to see, like, was the old version really that good, or am I just, thinking back on it? I gave this one a 5 stars. It was a huge fucking disappointment, and I am not about that. Then I read this Japanese science fiction novel. It is Usurper of the Sun by Kosuke Nojiri, which follows this high school girl originally. She grows up. This takes place over like 30 years. But she sees a weird mass in front of the sun. And it turns out that there are some aliens that have built something in front of the sun, which does plunge the planet into this like ice age, and it really like ruins a lot of like global economies, and it messes with their crops and everything. And we follow Aki, who is throughout her entire life, basically from the time that she's like high school student up until she's like an old woman, and it's her trying to figure out, what's going on with them, and is this something that needs to be like destroyed, or can we like peacefully negotiate a situation here? It was okay. I didn't hate this. I was really interested when we actually met the aliens at the very, very end of the novel. I'm like, why couldn't we have met them sooner? I'm finding that I do enjoy science fiction in the way that I do enjoy like reading about weird aliens, like I loved Methuselah's Children by Robert Heinlein. And once we got to the weird aliens in this book, I was like, I'm all in. But until then, it was very kind of plodding, kind of slow. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It's not a bad book, but I'm not a big sci-fi fan. I'm just starting to kind of dip my toes into sci-fi. So wasn't really my thing. Then, oh man, first 5-star of the week. Fucking Dapago. I read Dan and Phil Go Outside by Dan Hill and Phil Lester. Recently, within the past year or so, year and a half, basically since the WOD live stream, I've been just straight back in. When I was in high school, middle and high school, all the way. So I read this, and it was more of like a fun like trip down memory lane than anything. Not that I went to Interactive Insurance or Tatanoff or anything, but I just remembered so much of it. Like just seeing stuff online. This is not an objective rating, but I did give it 5 stars. there's not much to say about Dan and Phil Go Outside. Then I read a book that really surprised me, actually. I really, really enjoyed it, but I did find myself, I don't know, something kept me from enjoying it to its full extent. Like, I don't know, I kept finding myself, like, not really caring at parts, and then I really, really started caring, and then not really care again, and that's Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I did really enjoy this book, to the point where I added the sequel to my Amazon cart, and then like a couple hours later I deleted it from my Amazon cart, because I just make like one Amazon order every like couple of weeks. Like, it'll be like a $200 order every like 2 weeks is basically what it ends up being. But this is a young adult fantasy novel that takes place like immediately post-revolution, and we've got this world where dragon riders previously had been very oppressive to the population, but after the revolution, now anybody can become a dragon rider. It's no longer a blood thing. It's more of a meritocracy, which kind of reminded me of Napoleon. But then I read the back, and she was inspired more by like ancient Greece and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, this is giving post-revolution France with Napoleon and stuff like that. But whatever. I digress. I liked a lot of the side characters. I liked Duck, and damn it, I liked Power. I had fun with him. He was awful, but like I had fun reading about him. The main characters, I cared less about, particularly the boy. Lee was just so wishy-washy in a lot of ways. Like for Annie, I could understand the like her kind of weaknesses. I can understand them based on how she'd grown up and what she'd been told and everything like that, and all of her trauma. But Lee, I'm like, he was so wishy-washy, and I kind of wish he would have gone in any more, honestly. But no, I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I would pick up the second book. I don't know when I will. I don't like have it in my, it's not one that I was like, I need to buy it right now. But you know, see it at a store, maybe. Who knows? I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think that if you're looking for a YA fantasy, this is one of the less formulaic ones. I think it's very interesting. And again, it is giving me big post-French Revolution vibes. I know we're thinking Rome and Greece, but it's giving me Napoleonic era is what it's giving me. But there's that. Then I watched a movie. It had surprised Kyle Gallner, and I was very excited. I watched Red, which went in 2008. This is based on the Jack Ketchum novel. I haven't read the Jack Ketchum novel. It is in the book wall. But Red follows this old man, and all he has left is his dog. Like, his wife's dead, his kids are dead. All he has is this dog that his wife gave him. He's an old dog, but that's what he has left. And these 3 little teenage boys come up and they try to rob him, and he doesn't have any money, so they shoot his dog. And they didn't even really need money. Like, you learn that the 2 brothers, Danny and Harold, are extremely rich, but they're just awful. At least Danny is. Harold is Kyle Gallner, and love my life. But then this old man, he tries to do things like the right way. He tries to like go through the court system. He goes to the police. He gets a lawyer, and he's like, I'm gonna physically assault some teenagers. It was pretty fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. Again, Harold, Kyle Gallner, best part of the movie. I didn't know that Kyle Gallner was in this movie. I knew that Noel Gallagher was. I knew that he was. Is his last name Gallagher? It's not Gallagher. Noel Fisher. I knew that Noel Fisher was. That in the trailers, but I did not know Kyle Gallner was in this movie, and he plays the exact Kyle Gallner role where he's like kind of pathetic, but he's got a heart of gold, and then he dies, which is just, that's Kyle Gallner's filmography in a nutshell. But no, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars in Letterboxd. It was a decent time. All right, then I read another bad book, but not the worst book of the week, because it doesn't disappoint me, because I was expecting this one to be bad, and that is Unleashed by Nancy Holder and Debbie Buttigieg. And this is a 2011 paranormal YA ride in the coattails of Twilight thing. We're talking werewolves. We're talking Shiver by Maggie Steve Otter, but make it worse. We're talking every single character in this book does everything for the plot and has no actual character. So this follows this girl, Kat, and she, her mother has just died in a terrible earthquake. And so she moves from LA to live with her grandfather in like Missouri. It's something like that. It's some situation in that situation. And things are a little bit weird here, besides the fact that she's not used to living in a rural area. There's been like like wolf attacks and stuff, and kids are getting killed. And there's also this weird like self-improvement for businessmen thing happening in the woods that doesn't really ever get addressed. Like we talk about it once or twice, but like I'm assuming that we're gonna get more to that in sequels that I'm not gonna read. And she falls in with a couple different people. And like I said, like my main problem with this was that like the characterization didn't exist. Like they had sort of personalities, I suppose, I guess. Like Trick was supposed to be like a weird guy, but everybody just did whatever the plot needed them to do, whether that completely contradicted how they were previously or not. And I realized that the author was trying to like give us red herrings and everything, but like it was very obvious who the family of werewolves was. Like it was very obvious. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Like I said, like it wasn't the worst of the worst. I was expecting it to be bad. I was expecting this to be trash, and it was. So there's that. That's how that went. All right. Then I read This Wonderful Season with You by Atsuko Yusen. This is the author who did Dekoboku Sugar Days, which I haven't read, but is in the book wall. And this is a one volume BL manga following this little nerd who ends up convincing a former baseball star to join his electrical engineering club. And the former baseball star, doesn't play anymore because of an injury, and he's really looking for something to give his life meaning. So he's like, what the hell? And he finds that what gives his life meaning is not the electrical engineering, it's the nerd. It's very cute. It's very sweet. It's fine. You know, like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time reading it. It's a very quick read. I'll probably keep it around for a while, but I give it like 4 out of 5 stars. So when we're talking about what we're keeping from here, it's not a lot of it. Obviously, I'm keeping Red. I always keep my DVDs until I go through them all. I'm getting rid of Touch. I can't even look at this fucking book. I'm getting rid of Usurper of the Sun. I will keep Dan and Phil Go Outside. I'm getting rid of Fireborn. I'm getting rid of Unleashed. And I'm keeping This Wonderful Season with You. Now, what I received, I did finally get the end of that one, like, order that was lost, and I got part of it last week and part of it the week before. I finally got the rest of it. So I did get a hardcover of The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read this book a long time ago, and I enjoyed it, but I wanted a new copy because I don't even know. Like, I got rid of this book so long ago that I have no clue where that copy could even be. And also I wanted a nice copy when I reread it because I feel like I'm going to want to keep it. All right, then I got A Darker Mischief by Derek Millman, which he wrote Scream All Night, which I really enjoyed. And this we follow, it's like a boarding school situation. We've got, yeah, classism. I really enjoyed Scream All Night. I thought it was interesting, so it should be fun. And I've also got Bored Gay Werewolf by Tony Santarello, which just looked really funny and really fun. I really was interested in the idea of just kind of, it seems kind of like a parody situation, but also, well, like, might have some heart when it comes to some things. I don't know. It looked fun. I'm realizing that we have a theme with literally all of these books. You Should Be So Lucky by Cat Sebastian, which is a male historical baseball romance situation. We've got Cat Sebastian, who I've heard a lot about. I've never read anything by Cat Sebastian, but I think that she is very well received. All right, then I've got Cold Heart Canyon by Clive Barker. For Clive Barker, historically, his short stories have worked for me a lot better than his novels have, but I did really enjoy The Great and Secret Show, like on a very deep personal level. I'm hoping that this falls more along the lines of Great and Secret Shows than like Weave World or The Damnation Game, both of which I liked fine, but didn't really hit with me quite as well as his short stories have. Like, he has beautiful writing, but his novels don't always quite hit me in a way that I think they should. But I am gonna give The Cold Heart Canyon a shot. And then I do have another New Yorker for March 31st. So that is that. That is this kind of week in review. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.